Hi there, my name is Laura, and welcome to the Equestrian Skill Builders Rider Position Show, where we discuss riding position topics and share ideas and exercises to help you and or your riders. If you'd like to improve your riding and training, win more ribbons at your next horse show, and who doesn't like that, or generally like other horsey related stuff, stay tuned because the exercises we're going to share with you today might very well change your riding forever in a good way. Guest hosting with me today is Randy Thompson and Patty Downing-Nygaard. Hi, Randy. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day on the mountain. A little chilly, but it's beautiful here.
Yeah, excellent. Could you introduce yourself? Give us a little info about yourself, please.
All right. Well, I've been, I guess the most important thing is that I've been certifying and teaching riding instructors for over 30 years now. And yes, so that's me. I'm an expert witness and consultant. I got a little caught off guard today. It's been an entertaining morning for me. So for me, it's important to be able, I have learned in my life and my career, that's what's really important to me is inspiring people like you to be able to find ways to improve what you're doing with your horses and what you're doing with your horsemanship skills.
Yes, excellent. No, thank you so much, Randy. And also with me today is Patty Downing-Nygaard. Hi, Patty. How are you today?
Good morning, all. It's been a while.
Yes, it has been. I heard you ask somebody to change blankets or take blankets off. Who do you have?
Blankets on the dogs went out this morning. It was 32 degrees this morning.
You have
blankets on our dogs.
Oh, not on your horses.
We have blankets for our dogs. No, the horses are fine. So are the dogs. Exactly. But my name is Patty Downing-Nygaard, and I'm a large R USEF 100 jumper equitation judge, and I teach clinics and do all those sort of things. And I'm glad to be back. I haven't been here for quite a while.
Well, you've been busy, right?
I have been busy, yes.
Yeah. Where have you been judging lately?
I was in Sonoma and California for a couple of weeks, and I was Michigan a couple of times. It's been a weird winter. Lost seven horse shows for the pandemic, which was
I was going to say, when you were in California, did you see the fires and the
smoke? We had the first week, we only judged 2 days, and then the smoke got so heavy we had to cancel. So
it was bad.
We stayed around. It was horrible.
It's still going on.
It is still going on. Exactly. It is not a great thing for them. It's sad. It's sad. However, I think it's now in more controlled areas and places that it can burn itself out a little bit. So it doesn't seem to be attacking the civilization as much anymore. So yeah, so we're here ready to go and have a good time and hopefully give you some tips and clues on how to become a better rider or teach a better lesson or do better at the horse shows. And
yeah, that's what we're all about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, a couple of weeks ago, we had on Joey Gatlin, and she was, she was in California as well. So, and the reason why she could come on the show is because the show that she was going to, I think it was Sacramento, was canceled because of the smoke.
Yep, the smoke is bad. Yeah, I sent Laura a picture of the car. Had a dark colored car and went out in the morning and it looked like it had frost all over it, and it was the ash from the smoke. It was sad.
Yeah. Yep. All right. And I am Laura Kellen May, Equestrian Canada Senior Judge, Hunter, Jumper, Equitation, and Hack, and a Senior Steward and a Competition Coach Specialist High Performance Trained. So today we're going to be tackling some equitation points. And again, if you have any questions or comments, we will answer your questions live. So put it in the comments below or beside or wherever you are. If you are on YouTube, put it on YouTube. Or if you're on Facebook, please put it on Facebook. We will answer your questions the best we can. And we're going to be talking about your riding position and how your position really kind of affects the horse and how to get your horse a little softer by softening your position. Sound good?
Sounds perfect.
Good.
All right. So I'm just going to put something in the comments here, and then we are going to go to
I'm down.
Our pictures. Ed, if you do have a photo of yourself that you'd like to have reviewed, please send it in. thistleridge@hotmail.com. I'm going to put that up here too as soon as I find it. There we go. Send me an email, thistleridge@hotmail.com.
And that way we can look at what you're actually doing.
Yeah, Randy's got her magnifying glass out. Okay, so we're going to look at some pictures. This is a person sent in her photo. Oh, this is not the one we want to look at first.
Do we have her on the flat first? Don't we have one of her on the flat? Yeah, there she is. Okay.
So this is...
Go ahead. Sorry.
This is Nikki. She's riding a thoroughbred off the track thoroughbred, and she wants to do some jumpers next year and sent in these photos for us to look at.
So we looked at these pictures a little while ago, all of us, and we looked at one of her jumping that we'll get to, and we all were in agreement that Nikki has good balance. She's sitting in the right balance. However, she's riding it way on the back of her calf, and her lower leg is back a little too far. And so she's squeezing with her heel, and we really see it in one of the jumping pictures. And in the jumping pictures, because she's so far on the back of her calf, we'll show you in a minute, her knee and thigh are completely off the saddle. And as you get closer to this one, you can kind of see that she's hanging on solely with her very lower leg, and her pelvis is up in front of the pommel a little too far. And so it's putting her in a position where she's hanging on to the mouth a little for balance. Yeah. And on the back of her calf. It's pretty easy fix once you kind of realize what you have. And so I just wanted to see this one first up close, because I think we were right, huh, Randy?
Yes, I agree. I would, as you were saying, she's more of we would call you at the point that we see in the pictures, a beginner going, advanced beginner type of stage, which is wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that because she has great basics. So now it's just a matter of taking her to the next level. As we can see, she's clearly way out of the saddle. So somehow she's learned a jumping position that's, again, typical of somebody that's moving up. She needs to sit lower where her seat is a lot closer to the saddle for a correct two-point or jumping position. Do you agree with me, ladies?
Yeah, so we'd like to see her squatting more in the saddle. So this is her shoulder,
right,
knee, toe. We'd like to have her bum closer here, right?
Yes.
Her pelvis closer to the saddle, and that'll pull her shoulder in line with her knee.
Yeah.
And then that way she stays more balanced. And it really, this is not the worst position in the world for canter a nice thoroughbred horse around on. However, when we see her jump, we're going to see where it turns into not the best position. So the thing about this girl is that she's balanced. She's in the middle. Seems to probably have her weight on both sides of the saddle equally. She's looking up. There's some really good things here. She just needs to sit a little closer to the saddle and relax her elbows a little, because it appears that, and it could be that the horse is dragging her some, in which case there's some exercises for that also. But it just appears that she's using her hands for balance and the back of her calf and heel instead of riding on the inside, which is where she needs to be.
So there are 2 points of contact here. She's got her hands here and
Correct.
her legs here.
Yes.
And as you say, if he is dragging her, then her seat should be closer to the saddle to help get the horse back on his hindquarters.
Which is easier with a thoroughbred than some horses. But and you can also, as you look at her hands, and again, we're not criticizing you at all, because we can see you have a great foundation and you're going to keep evolving. We're just helping you go to the next level. Here's something I want you to remember. What was her name again?
Nikki.
Nikki, put this in the front of your forehead. Get a piece of sticky tape and stick a note on your forehead. or right in front of your hands, and just say, open fingers, broken fingers. You cannot correctly ride or influence a horse as long as you have open fingers, because the rein doesn't come through your elbow into your seat, into your lower legs. Put that on your forehead and just study that for a minute. It'll
Open
improve
fingers,
your
broken
ride.
fingers. So keep your fingers closed around the reins.
Well, and I
So-
think too, people confuse a soft hand because that term is used a lot. And it's really not your hand that's soft, it's your elbow and your shoulder that gets soft. So you want to hold those reins deep into your hand so you have a hold of them and let your arm relax. And that's what creates a soft hand. And it gets a little confusing sometimes.
Yes, especially when you're just learning it, because here the horse is strong. We can see he's a little strong at this point in this picture, which would make a rider feel like they have, at your level, let me say that again, because it's not a bad thing. It's just where you are. At your level, you're still thinking you have to pull back on the reins to manipulate the horse. When in fact, if you sit lower and use your reins less, it'll be easier for you to control the horse's energy and balance.
I like where you say that, Randy,
Yeah.
is sitting lower in the tack. That's exactly what we're trying to get at, is to think
So
of
people make
squatting in the saddle.
two mistakes at horses that take over a little. One is they sit down and get behind them, which drives them. And the other one is they get up a little too much, like Nikki's doing, and then they get out behind you. So they go the other direction. And I judged a little horse show in Tennessee this week, and I saw that a lot, where strong horses and the riders were sitting down too hard and pushing. They were actually behind them, driving them. And so it got a little confusing for the horse. They had a little hard time with it. But so anyway,
I really,
that's why I wanted to see this picture first.
yeah, though that's great. And I mean, looks like she's focusing forward onto the next fence, but I think she's carrying a lot of tension right here in her shoulders.
I agree. She's got her neck squished down into her shoulder blades. She's doing this.
Just a second, Randy. Let me get you on there.
Feels
Go,
like
Randy.
this. Yeah, she's going like this instead of carrying herself up like this, which again is a normal part of the process, because the horse is pulling on your hand where you are, Nikki, because the horse is pulling on your hands and you're going like this here with your whole body. It's not going to work. We've been there.
And if they took the pictures to put on this thing, everybody tries too hard. So instead of riding like they normally ride, but it happens all the time. I mean, you teach a lesson, or you have a kid that jumps around great in the hunter ring and beautiful position, and then you put them in the equitation and they all of a sudden get stiff because they're trying too hard. So sometimes you have to take a deep breath, relax, take the information you have and apply it.
That's right.
Okay, so let's look on the next photo, shall we?
And while we're switching photos, be patient with your progress. Good things take times. It might take you years. Well, it's forever. What am I saying? But be patient with your process. You are basic. I mean, you've got good basics that can be worked on.
Okay, so here's the jumping picture that we were going to start with. And you can really see, Nikki, that you've got your toe rolled out and you're really hanging on with your heel and the back of your calf. Whoops, it went away.
I got the vortex of death. There we go.
Vortex, there it goes. And you can actually see, as Laura pointed out, if Laura put that arrow over there, you can actually see light coming from behind your britches, from underneath, because your thigh is not laying in the saddle. And you can really see how close the back of your calf is. And your stirrup should be up even with the girth. And
okay, so let's just a minute back up the bus.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So here's her stirrup leather. Whoops. There's her stirrup leather there.
And the stirrup should be straight up and down, ladies. You can see that, not you guys, but for the Nikki.
So what Patty's saying is that the stirrup should be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And it can be a little behind it. And if you watch, as the jumps get bigger, you'll watch some of the riders, depending on their conformation, they kind of get their own style within 3 or 4 inches of that. However, in the basics, you want to have the stirrup forward. And it's hard to keep the stirrup forward in the right place and the leather straight as Randy said, if you're riding on the back of your calf,
Yeah.
you have to ride on the inside of your calf and the inside of your thigh, and that allows your leg to lay in the saddle.
Yes,
And
especially the part of the thigh she's missing. The part of your thigh right above your knee is the most important, I think, for going over fences and stuff, because it gives you security and balance. Do you ladies agree?
exactly. And if you have your thigh deep in the saddle and your cat on the inside of your calf, and your knee relaxed, then you're not holding on with your knee, which is what you don't want to do either, but you're not doing that. It looks like your thigh and knee are really very loose, too loose.
I
Yes.
guess maybe
Again,
we should
looking
try a
up.
head-on picture.
Yeah, exactly. Again, looking up, very focused.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And that part it's great. And some people never get that. So
Yeah.
got some good things going on here. And
Yes.
again, if you were more open and your
Yeah.
seat was a little closer to the saddle, then your
Yeah.
arm could relax. It's hard to let your arm be soft if you're all balled up. So
Right.
at this height, looks like maybe a 2'3" jump. You're overusing your body a bit. And so stretch up and sit a little closer to the tack and let your shoulders stay open and a bit more distance between your upper body and your horse's neck. And it appears that he left a little long, and you may be trying to catch up a little bit. However, I do believe if you would just roll your thigh and knee in and calf, you would be so surprised at the difference in your ride.
And here's something to your thigh to help that, Nikki. And it's an old game we used to play back in the old. You ladies will remember it. Called a
Because we're
dollar.
old.
You take a dollar bill and you put it on the inside
A
of your
dollar bill.
and put it under, or use a $20 bill if you want to make some money for your trainer. But put that $20 bill under the bottom of your thigh, above your knee, and it should stay there. With an open thigh like we're seeing here, I would say that trainer is going to make a lot of money from you, Nikki. But
Well, yeah, we used to do that. We put
yeah,
money in, and you can also do that in your calf, in the
yes,
front of your calf, and do the same thing. And if you drop it, the trainer gets it. So I like that deal.
I
Oh,
do
that's
too.
a good deal.
I think we should make that a national mandate
I
everywhere.
think so too.
Well, here's a
Absolutely.
tip. I know this person is from Canada, and in Canada we don't have a dollar bill and we don't have a $2 bill. We only have a $5 bill.
So you have to start with $5.
Yeah.
You could put a Toomey in there.
I like
Oh,
the
that's a good idea.
I want the $20.
Yeah, well, you're greedy.
Okay, so while we're looking at this, let's comment on her right here. Let's comment on that.
Okay, so
Let me
Is this the reason why she's got her thigh off the tack? I mean, we've all agreed that it's her thigh and being too far out of the saddle is the main thing that we'd like to fix, right? So is it because of the heel or is it because of her seat being too far out of the saddle? This is where we'd like to have her seat. Like she should be squatting more in the saddle. So what is the root thing that we're trying to fix here? And what are the exercises that we need to do to help this person?
go ahead, Randy.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
So my belief is, again, back in the if you
Here's what Lindy says. I lost a lot of money as a kid learning to keep my legs still.
there you go.
We all did.
Oh, Lindy.
Oh, and there's Nikki. I haven't done that since I was a kid.
It's time to do it again.
It'd be good to do it again. So I believe that if you can fix the lower leg and roll right on the inside towards a little bit more to the front of your calf, and you get your ankle bone going towards the belly of the horse instead of the back of your leg, it'll fix a lot of things all on its own. It'll allow you to let your lower leg to go forward a bit. It will also ask your seat to sit down in the tack.
Yeah.
And if you'll allow your upper body to be more open. Some good things here is that you are getting out of the way of the horse with your body. However, it appears that your release is a little heavy in his mouth still. I'd like to see a little more release. Now he's a little thoroughbred horse and you want to do the jumpers, but your elbow needs to be able to relax, and it can't relax if you're hanging on to the neck. So You have to allow yourself to get in that position. Again, back to the lower leg. Sorry, Laura. And
Bring it back. You're going to rein you in,
bring
girl.
it
I
back,
got to sit up,
rein
put my
myself
leg on,
in.
get you back to the topic.
Exactly. Yeah, so the topic is to roll that. You don't want to roll your toe in because that's not what you're fixing. What you're fixing is your calf and your ankle. I don't care where your toe goes as long as your ankle's pointing in the correct direction and you're riding on the inside towards the front of your calf. Now, don't overdo and get crazy and get too much in the front of your calf. But if you'll just do that, just pull your leg around and you'll go, oh my gosh, how simple is this? And again, go back and stick a piece of paper or a $5 bill or something underneath your leg just so you kind of know where it is and get someone to video you. But if you open your upper body a little bit because your elbows are too bent, it'll make your seat sit closer to the tack. Your seat is as far out of the tack as if you were jumping a 4.5-foot jump, and you don't need to do that.
Exactly.
Too much effort.
That's
Too
a
much
good
effort.
point.
Yeah. Yeah. And a cute horse, and he's trying hard, and I think you're having fun. I like that. Yeah.
Exactly. I
Okay.
agree exactly. But it sounds like from that description is that everything is connected. Like if you bring your heel forward with your ankle next to the horse, use the inside part of your leg, that's going to help get your seat closer and your upper body back. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, because they're so connected that they're going to help each other out. Now we have a comment here from Lindy. Thank you so much, Lindy, for this lovely comment. Would Randy's magic button help with this? Now, Randy, could you just do a quick magic button, yay or nay, and what is it?
All right. Yes, it would help you, but it's much deeper than just the magic button. This is an exercise that you can practice on the ground. But the magic button is, if a rider, those of you who are riders, if you take your hand and you press it as you're in the saddle, press down on the top of your knee, and you will find that your leg will stretch down and back. It's called the magic button. You pick your favorite color. That's why it's magic. And you say, well, press your magic button. Your magic button is all I say. And they, in their mind, because it becomes a mind thing, you just think, okay, I've got to press my magic button, and you automatically put your legs in the right place. But I'd like to point out in this picture that we can see that, Lindsay, you've been sliding your leg way back on the horse because we can see it in the fur. Can you show that, Laura?
Yeah, I'm just getting there.
All right. And that's okay, because that's just because your leg, it looks tight here, but we can see
Here.
from the fur on your horse's side that somewhere in the process, your leg slides back that far, which simply means you're not balanced in your lower legs like a rider of your level could be. And that goes back to feeling the spring, which is part of the magic button. Feel the spring in your riding position when you're riding a horse. And you can practice this. Those of you who are listening in, you can practice this. Go ahead and stand up with your feet, like a horse's length apart. If possible, think that you've got your legs
feet a horse's length apart.
The width of your horse, the barrel of your horse.
That's not what she said. She said your feet.
She did, but she's had a hard morning.
It's been a weird morning.
Okay, so, I'm standing up, Randy.
Your feet. Okay. Laura's going to actually try it. All right. So now what I'd like you to do is sink slowly down, like you're sitting, just enough to find your place where your weight is over your feet. Now you'll notice when you're down there that you tip forward and back.
Yep.
Okay. Are you tipping more to the front or to the back?
I'm trying to keep my weight down in my heels.
Okay. Stop thinking of where your weight is. Just unconsciously like bounce a little slowly up and down, slower, like a horse. There you go. Now notice, close your eyes and feel where your weight tends to go. Is it to the front of your foot or the back of your foot?
Back, because I got a big caboose going on here.
No, that doesn't make a difference. We've all had big cabooses. That's not doing it. As you're springing, are you springing up from your heel or from your toes?
Heel.
Okay. You're a trained rider. So most people, when they're doing this, they unconsciously put their weight on the front, which is what Nikki's doing in this picture. She's putting her weight in the front. So there is no.
So what could we do to help Nikki with this?
She needs to do the groundwork first so she can feel when her muscles change. When she's doing, again, the position where you're on the ground, when you're feeling that position, you should feel that movement in your calves and
What
in
movement?
the movement when you're springing. Like when you were going up and
Okay.
down, you should have been able to feel it in your calves.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're standing on your toes.
Okay. Perfect.
And what this will do is it'll bring you more over your center balance so your leg can go deeper. That's what we call it, where your seat and leg get deeper on the horse, where you'll have a more effective riding position. And as a result, because this is the title of this show, it'll make your horse easier to influence because you'll be able to move more with the horse instead of against it.
So I excellent. That's excellent explanation. So this is the area you're talking about, that magic button. Here's
Correct.
where the magic button is, and that helps press the weight down, and that gets the weight right down this
Right, and
way.
you use
into
that when
your
you're
heel.
sitting
Yes.
on your horse, not up in jumping position. Like you don't think about it then at that point, but
Right.
yeah, but it does. And seeing that arrow, if she had used the magic button beforehand, your bottom arrow would be in where her toe is
Right.
instead of down back behind her. So it
Yeah.
would get her there. And then that would automatically lower her seat. And then if just open your upper body a little bit and let your horse jump up to you. I guess we hadn't mentioned that.
That's a big one, right?
You know, it's a really
Uh,
big one. And we tend to want to
yeah.
play catch up. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's better to be a little more open as long as your arm is relaxed and you're not, I call it brain flossing your horse's mouth. As long as your arm is
What did you
relaxed,
call it? Brain flossing?
flossing. You know, when you get left and you pull on their mouth and the poor thing's going, ah! I call it brain flossing. But
That's a good one.
yeah, so you just want to pay attention to that because that's so many things are correct here, and it would just take
I-
2 minutes to
I
fix
like
it.
how she's able to stay with her chest off of the horse's neck. So she's really had to work at that because, as we know, many riders have a tendency to bring their chest right up to the horse's neck. So
Exactly.
Nikki, you're not doing that. Yay!
Yay. Yep.
So I think what I would get this rider to do, I liked all your exercises, but I would like to see this rider do some gymnastic exercises where she can just focus on her riding and do the usual 2-point position, maybe with some $10 bills or $20 bills. Or
If I'm teaching her,
behind.
$20 bills, please.
Okay. But I would say live in your 2-point position, balance yourself off your horse's back by sinking into the saddle with the weight down into your feet, over raised trot rails, over raised poles, simple gymnastic exercises, and also even some lunging exercises where you can just really focus on yourself rather than worrying about whether or not your horse is going to run away with you or take off or do whatever he's going to do, but in a controlled situation where you can really focus on yourself, because to me it looks like you've got a lot of tension in your shoulders and that you need to squat down more in the saddle and let the weight come down into your heel so that there's equal pressure, thigh, knee, calf around the horse's side rather than just really gripping with your calves there.
So, and think about hugging your horse with your lower leg.
Hugging
brain
your
and brain
horse.
flossing good, Lindy? It's the best. And think about hugging your horse with that. I think that's a good thing. Shoot, I was going to say something wonderful, but it's
while
gone.
you're doing these exercises that Laura recommended, which are great, the important thing, Nikki, for you is to feel the spring in your riding position as you go through everything. If you're not springing, you've sprung out of the saddle.
It's true. I know what I was going to say. Laura's exercises are great. And if there's a horse you can borrow that's maybe a less of a thoroughbred horse and maybe is a little more quiet,
School
and
horsey type.
a school horse,
Yeah.
and practice these things and then try to apply them when you get onto your horse. Is this the same horse?
Yes.
Same horse and rider.
I thought it's the same rider. I didn't know if it was the same horse.
Yeah.
Maybe from a different time. It's less winter time. So same thing. Look at where your leg is and your back of your heel, and it's just all too far back, especially for this height. And elbows are out in this picture. I don't think they were in the other picture. So just if your upper body was up a little bit and hips forward a tiny bit, put your seat closer to the saddle and let your arm open up. It's all such little things to fix. And sometimes as a trainer or as a student, or the reason it's fun that you guys come to us is that we can see things that your trainer might be seeing all the time and has told you 75,000 times how to fix it.
Right.
And then you finally go, okay, we're just going to have a lesson today and work
Now,
on your
people learn to speak in an accent, and then they would get it faster. I can't even.
Georgia, yes, but if you can put that lower leg forward, and for he who should not be named, you can learn on the inside of your calf just a little bit, it would be just fine. And eyes up and relax your back some.
Yep. And she could also put a $1 bill, a $20 bill right underneath of her armpits, and that would keep her elbows down.
There you go.
Do you
My
hear
gosh,
that, Nikki?
you
I
gotta
think
go to the
Nikki's going to
bank.
have to go to the bank.
Exactly.
Yes.
Let me teach her the first time, okay?
Yeah, exactly. But it's all simple stuff. It just needs to be done, and you have to really want to change. And so, if you want to be better, if you want to improve, which you must do because you sent pictures for us to critique, kind of pay attention to it and play with it a little bit. It's an easy habit to get into. I have a very short leg. My inseam's 28.5 inches. I mean, it's really short.
Oh my gosh.
This girl's probably got a 32-inch inseam, if not more. And you have a lot of leg to get into the right place. We all talk about this physique being the perfect equization, but it's harder. It's hard to take a long body and get it into the right place. When it's there, it's beautiful. But for me, I kind of slam my leg on the horse and it's there where it's supposed to be. But I think it's just because my leg's so short.
Well, and we've had so many years of lessons experience. So those who are watching, you never really stop taking lessons when you're active riding. Never. So you just get used to it. You always want to find somebody who can take you to the next level. It is what it is. We never stop learning, which is a good thing because we would get bored.
Exactly. It is an always ongoing. Yeah. So what I want to see is a month from now or 6 weeks from now, more pictures of Nikki and see if she's fixed this. So there's a challenge for you.
Go, Nikki. We have faith that you can do this.
Exactly.
So what do you think, Nikki? What are you going to, if she's still here, what are you going to be working on? You're going to do some exercises, going to do some. Okay, so I got another picture over here.
Yeah, and I think also, and it's always a good exercise as long as your leg's in the right place, is without stirrups. And she's certainly at the level to be able to ride without stirrups and post without stirrups. And think about.
Okay, so I'm gonna share another. Oh, what does she say here? Just a second.
Accepted. She's accepted our challenge.
There you go. Bring it back and see. And
yeah,
like to see what you're doing because we are here to support you in your process. We have been there, done that, and we know how important it is to have support.
And Nikki, I'm assuming you have a trainer, and if you are a trainer, or anyway, if you take some chalk and put some chalk on the back of your boot.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And then you ride. If the chalk is on your horse's side, guess what? You're riding on the back of your calf.
Right.
So sometimes little tricks like that to check yourself. And if you have a trainer, you've had the same trainer for a long time, and tell them that these old ladies told you need to do that differently.
Do you hear that, Nikki? Tell them about these old ladies.
We're not.
So I have to fess up. Oh,
yeah, we are.
I have to fess up. Nikki is my student.
Oh, Laura, I'm going to beat you.
Oh, see, Nikki, it's not just you.
No. And it happens. And
it happens to all of us.
And Laura's so good I have a feeling Laura's
I
going to
have a
be
feeling
buying
Laura's
chalk.
going to be buying
You
chalk.
can use chalk. You can use.
I just started taking lesson 2 months ago.
There you go. Lime. You could take a little lime, and it wouldn't. I don't think it'll burn your horse. Anything kind of powder, baby powder, anything that'll go back and do. Baby probably better than lime. But yeah, Nikki,
flour.
Bring some baby powder out with you, and say, "Hey, Laura, I want those ladies to be proud of me next time."
Okay, I got another picture here.
Okay. So actually, her leg kind of goes to almost a good place when she lands. However, her seat is touching the cantle, and her back has now become rounded.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it really has.
So the previous photo was the
takeoff or in the air.
Yeah, the other photo that we saw. So and then this is the next photo.
So try to stay up out of the tack a little longer. And if you are too far ahead of the horse in the air, this is where you end up. If you are in the middle,
right, Patty, because you know the previous photo is the one where we say she's this one,
right,
where she's ahead.
Yeah.
And then it's this one.
Yep, and that's kind of where it goes from one extreme to the other. And it's kind of interesting that it does that. However, if you could stay in the middle and then think about staying, once you get in the middle, think about staying closed for 2 more seconds. It's not much. You'll land in the correct position. Now, I do like that I'm in trouble. You're not in trouble. I like that your elbow's open so you're not pulling on your horse's mouth in the landing. So there's a really good feel. And Laura just has her work cut out for her, not you having your work cut out for you. There you go, Nikki. Laura's got her work cut out for you.
I'd also add a neck strap for her, Laura, as she's going through this process, so that she knows exactly where her hands should stay. You know, you can
That's a good idea.
You can start with the hands on the neck, like a press release, but then as she gets better, moves up the level, she should be able to lift her hand or get it loose off the neck more and more, where it can be more of a following hand.
Yeah. And then what happens after? Then there's this one.
Same thing. Look, go to the other one, the one right before this one.
So this is a series, right?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so there's that one. Now go to the next one. See, look where the lower leg is. Your lower leg went back.
Yeah.
The heel is you're hanging on with your heel. And you're starting to open up. So you should stay closed a little bit longer and
feel,
and then you get back up. And then you get back up. So it's interesting because you know where you need to be. You just can't hold yourself there because you're on the back of your calf.
And
you would just fix that. Yeah, you'd have to fix that. Oh, look how cute.
Okay, so what I get them to do is they send me a photo of them riding, so I know that they're riding in between lessons. So that's what that was.
Okay.
So here, this is what you said, that she is ahead of the horse, needs to get her seat closer, lower leg more forward, weight down in the heels, not holding on with her calf. Then this, because the back of her calf, because if you're ahead, then this happens.
Yeah, which means when you're landing, there's no spring in your position. So it's pretty sophisticated to feel that, but you're jammed down into a position for your own security, I'm sure, because we've all been there, done that. But when you land, you should feel that you have this movement where you sink into the saddle instead of pushing yourself, because you can see you push yourself to the back of the saddle. The next step, do we have the next step? Oh, that's where he kicks up. Do you have the next step?
I think he's just.
Yeah, see, look at how far she is out of the saddle here. So it just
and like what you said, that she knows where she's supposed to be, and maybe this is just exactly at the wrong spot where the picture was taken, right?
It's just
but if you get back there, if your hip gets that far back, you're that far back. It's not a.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, and it's fine. And I'm not sure he's kicking out. I think he's just getting ready to take a canter step, but he's I think he's a cute horse, and he needs you to get just down closer and wrap around him. So I was watching a movie the other night. It was actually in Yellowstone, and I don't know if you guys have watched that, but it's pretty much fun to watch. But there's a cowboy who's helping this girl ride, and he comes up behind her and he puts his arms around her rib cage. And unfortunately, in this day and age, we can't do this, but he squeezes really hard. And, I mean, like really hard. And she wants to get away from him. And then he softens it up and he said, "Which one do you like better?" And he was talking about Western riding. And she said, "Well, the softer feel." And she said, "That's your leg. You need to wrap your leg around your horse and keep it soft." And it was such an interesting thing because this movie's got nothing to do with that riding, really. But it was such a cool thing. I thought, oh my God, that would be such a cool thing. But we can't do that nowadays.
Right.
But you could get someone to do it, family member or somebody to do it and feel it because it's true.
Mhm.
It's true. I thought it was kind of cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Nikki's going to be working on some things, getting the weight down in your heel. I've had a coach do that with the stirrup leather, and it helped.
That must be the neck strap.
Oh, good idea. No, she's talking about the strap around the. Are you talking about the stirrup leather around your rib cage, Lindy? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, she's going to
I mean,
let
you
us
could do
know.
it with something. Yeah, you could do something
Like
that. But I thought there was kind of a cool. It was just interesting, and it surprised me. It jumped out in this weird movie, and I went, "Wow, I'm learning something
That
from
makes
this
sense.
movie." Yeah, makes
Wrap
good
the
sense.
stirrup leather around my ribs.
Yeah, I
Boy,
like that.
Linda, you've been you've done a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
You should write a
I
book.
like that.
Yeah.
So, Lindy, are you from Canada? Is Lindy from Canada?
Yeah, Lindy and Nikki ride together.
Oh, okay. Did they ride with you?
Yeah.
Both of them?
They do
There
now.
you go. They do now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So we were talking earlier about, not to completely change the subject, however, I tend to do that. Judging horse shows, and we talked earlier about maybe some judging hints. So I was at a little unrecognized horse show in Tennessee with some great, brave riders, and I think sometimes those. And I started that way. I think these people trail ride and fox hunt and do a lot of things where a lot of the show ring riders aren't necessarily so good about that stuff. But some little things happen that I am always reminded of. One thing I have to say, these people, they were really good about having their boots clean. However, I've judged there before, and it was one of my big complaints. So I have to say it's good they learned. I had one girl, she actually won a couple of classes, but at the level it worked out that way, whose left stirrup was twisted backwards all day long. So I finally called the trainer over and at the end and told her that if we'd been at a different horse show, that she may not have won those classes. And so remember the details, guys. And it's not just your trainer, but you guys remember the details. Check your leathers. Make sure your foot's in the stirrup in the right place. Make sure your reins are not twisted. Make sure the bite of the rein is underneath the rein and not on top of the rein. They're all little things that we as judges pick up on right away. So if there's a tie, if there's something that we go, well, this girl rides great, however, she doesn't pay attention to detail. And the word show is there for a reason. It is a horse show. And so,
so Patty, if you are judging and you notice with the, you're on the outside of the ring and they're coming down the long side towards you or circling out in front of you, and if you notice their stirrups aren't level, like you notice that the stirrups are level, do you mark that down in your sheet and say, sorry?
I will. And
Can't.
sometimes, like at this horse show, that happened. And it was a big round backed horse with kind of a thick saddle pad. And when she came towards me, I thought, oh, look how uneven her stirrups are. And then when she went by me, I said, "Oh, look how uneven her saddle is." So
Her
when
saddle
that
had slipped.
had slipped, so I actually walked them and had the trainer come out and fix it. And you can do that in an unrecognized horse show. And I felt like it was
Sure.
a safety issue. So I had her jump off. I had them readjust the saddle and get back on and tighten the girth. Now, I didn't let her win. There were 4 in the class, and she was 4th because I had to do that. However, it was a safety issue, and hopefully they learned.
And everybody learned that was watching it, because I'm sure they're all like, "Oh, what's happening that the judges stopped her?" But that's,
Exactly. But you have to do the safety thing, guys. And even in a recognized horse show, if it was really twisted, I might even call that person into the middle of the ring and then explain why later, or
Yes.
have the steward explain why. I've never
Certainly,
had to do that.
I've stopped a class when I've been judging because the horses walking out in front of me. When you're a coach or trainer, you automatically kind of do a sweep of the horse, right?
Right.
And I saw a gap in the girth, and I said, "Okay, I can't do anything more like that." So I said, I call over to the in gate and say, "Stop that horse. Get the trainer in to check the girth on it because." It's not going any
And
further.
remember, riders that are listening, it is your trainer's responsibility, but it's ultimately your responsibility to make sure your equipment is correct. And so little things like keepers on the bridle, martingale done correctly, again, clean boots and like a fetish for clean boots. But I think that well, it's important because it is a show. And if you're a rider, you got to get on 10 different horses.
Again, if you are judging, let's say equitation class, and somebody comes out, there's some shavings and manure hanging off the bottom of the boot. What are you going to mark down on your paper? What are you going to mark down on your judge's sheet?
Yeah. And the same thing, the horse needs to be cleaned, and it's all about. It doesn't have to be the most expensive equipment. Expensive equipment is not necessarily the way to go, but it needs to fit properly. And anything can fit properly. It may take a little trip to the tack shop or the tack repair guy to fix something, but it can be fitted properly. And it's important to us as a judge to do that.
Yes,
so I think that, with the judging, go ahead, Randy.
Laura. Randy, what were you saying about the manure on the boots type thing?
Well, no, we've all seen it. At whatever level show, the horse comes in, and if we go to a lot of shows where they have their own grooms, but for those of you who don't, you want to check your horse's tail and make sure there's no shavings in it.
I hate that.
Shavings in the tail, yeah, that's another one. I forgot about that one.
It's just sloppy. It's like you're not going to go to the prom,
right,
with a dirty dress.
That's right. And you're at a horse show, as Patty's saying so eloquently. It's a show, so you want to show off
your horse, exactly.
Yes.
And yourself, and you have to come in and look the part. You want the judge, when you walk in that ring, you want the judge to go, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be good. Not like, what are they thinking?
Right.
So, and we do think that way. And whether people want to admit it or not, if they come in dirty and ill-fitting tack and that stuff, we don't think we're going to see a great performance. Now, we might see a great performance and they might win. However, we've started off with a negative thought instead of a positive thought, because we're all human. Let's be smart about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the point that I was trying to make is that what was the point I was trying to make? It's gone. Is that if there is mud on your boots or shavings in your horse's tail or the keepers are flapping, that you get noticed, but not in a good way, and that gets marked down on the judge's card somewhere. So if there is a tie, or if there's something that a reason, because that gives the judge a reason for putting you not in reserve or 6th or 5th or whatever,
or
because
first.
That horse.
Sometimes it'll take you
sometimes
off
first. You might just get crossed right off the ring, off the docket, because there's these things. And also, you said that you come in the ring, it puts a good flavor in in the judge's mouth that, oh wow, this person made the effort, they made the time, their horse is perfectly groomed, they've got the braids, they've got the beautifully turned out. And like you say, it doesn't have to be all new and all the latest kit. It can be clean, well fitted equipment. It doesn't have to be
I
the
grew up
latest
on a
trend. But also,
$350 horse. I
Mine was
grew up
Yeah.
showing my
Well,
$350 horse.
$5.
There you go. So
But-
it's all about presence, and this sounds horrible as a horseman, but you have about a minute and 40 seconds to fool me
Yes.
that you ride great.
Yes.
That's all you have to do. It's
I think
true.
that-
Or in a flat class,
I know.
6 minutes.
And I've
6
seen
minutes to impress me.
I've seen it in studies where it's watching flat classes of any breed of horses, that the average judge spends about 30 seconds in a bigger class watching you, because there's, in the bigger classes, it's just like we make snap decisions like this. Right, ladies?
Exactly. And you have to, and when you come in and the presence is wonderful and the balance is wonderful, and I say, well, okay, this one's far above the rest in the ring, I'll glance back at you when we go to the sitting trot, or I'll glance back at you when we do a transition to make sure I don't miss something, but you're the winner. And it happens in the first
Time
usually
around.
it happens in the first time
Yes.
around. You pick your
Yep.
winner.
Agreed.
Placing all my
I like this one. I like this one. I like this one.
Right,
I
and
like
you-
this
And
one.
you
First,
glance
second,
back
third,
quickly
fourth.
at them.
Mhm.
And as a
And
judge,
then-
I've been told numerous times, be efficient. They have to go one time around at each gate, which we don't do at the walk. But at the trot and the canter, one time around, and you should be able to pick it out in that time, because A, you could lose your winner, which you hate to do. And B, the people outside go, oh my God, they've now gone 10 times around the ring. That person's lost.
What is taking this judge? Does she not know?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So I really dislike it when you say you lose your winner, because it wasn't going to be the winner if it makes a mistake.
Well,
It
but if
shouldn't
you
be the
go
winner.
too long in a flat class,
Yeah.
then you're asking for things that, I mean, I'm talking about in the intermediate type. You have 10 in there, and if you go too long, and then
Someone's going to make a
someone's
mistake.
going to do something wrong, and so it just kind of happens. And so, no, I know what you're talking about, losing the winner, but
Yeah.
you have someone that goes in there, they're turned out well, their presence is well, their horse is groomed well, their position is good, they're doing everything, and you
really want them to win. You
want
really
them to
do.
win. So you canter your circle around, you check and make sure that that person has got the correct lead, is doing a good sitting trot, and you're watching the rest, because it's important who is 6th or 8th also. So you have to watch all of those guys.
So I found when I was judging that the hardest decisions to make were the last places. Like if it went to 10th
Yep.
place, 8th, 9th, and 10th, I'd be debating in my head forever. But boy, I'd have that first, second, third, fourth horses down pat.
Exactly.
Hey,
And
Patty.
then the other thing at that level is that if you, I did it this last week. I like to go up and judge this little horse show, and it's fun to do, and it's good for me. It makes me pay really close attention. I had a walk trot canter class, just kids like just out of the walk trot. I had to stop and start all over again. They all made so many mistakes. I said, okay, we're going to stop, and we're all going to canter to the left again, and then we're going to all canter to the right, and we're going to forget what happened before, because everybody made major mistakes. So I did that, and you can do that at those little horse shows. It was kind of fun, and everybody
It's
paid
fun.
attention, and they made it work. And
They really enjoyed that you did that.
And everybody appreciates it.
so it's a good thing to do.
You know, they
Because we can't
They
at the
appreciate-
shows.
Yeah, we want the winner. We want to choose the right people. And we as judges, and I don't think it's even a generalization, we as judges want the best horse to win. We want the best rider to win. And we are not looking to be mean.
Right.
And sometimes people think we are. And sometimes we get judged for things. They say, well, that judge doesn't like a paint horse. And I had to laugh.
No,
and
it's just because you cantered around on the wrong lead for
or it doesn't
entire
jump well, or it doesn't do. I actually was judging a big horse show, and the in gate was right where I could hear everything. Yeah, remember that too, guys. We hear a lot from the judges booth. It's kind of fun.
Yes.
And they said, the trainer actually said to this girl, well, she just doesn't like paints. Of course, my head spun because two of my most famous ponies were paints, and my first horse was a paint. So I called the steward and said I wanted the trainer and the rider to come up to my booth. And
Nice.
I told them, I said, I overheard something, and I just want you to know that the very most money I made was on a pony called Otter Ridge Powwow, and we bought him for 25,000 and sold him for 150. And he was a black and white paint large pony, and he was wonderful. I like color. I like it if it works well. It just has to go well, just like anything else. Some people like gray horses, some people don't. But the horse has to perform. You
I
guys,
agree with you totally. And also the opposite is true. Sometimes you can have the best turnout, nicest looking horse, beautiful tack. You look like you this gonna take on the world and win. And this actually happened to me when I was judging, is that this rider came in and I actually put my pen and paper down and said, oh, this is going to be great. The horse was spotless. The tack was gorgeous. The braiding job was perfect. There was everything. She couldn't get over the jump.
yeah,
She just
that happens too. However, you started with a positive attitude, and if she'd come in with not looking that part, you would not have been surprised when it couldn't gone over the jump. So that's a bit of a
because it was
exactly.
and then she stopped and asked me
go ahead. No.
She asked me the rest of the course, what's the course? I don't know where I'm going now, so I can't tell you where to
exactly. So I have a great story. I was judging in California, and there's a back ring at the LA Equestrian Center, and they have all their small medal classes, and these adults were in there, and they'd been in the ring 85 times, and it was hot and miserable. So I thought, I'll just do a flat thing. So I brought 4 back in to work off. I had them trot up to me, and I asked them a question. The question is, what are the 4 things you do when you get off a horse? Now I'm thinking, run your stirrups up, or 3 things you do. Run your stirrups up, reins over the head, and loosen the girth. At some point, I mean, I didn't even care what order they did it in. This lady comes in, and she is turned out to the T, and she's beautiful. Her horse is beautiful. And she said, well,
I give the horse to my groom.
On, and I light a cigarette and I drink a beer. Okay, so those are the 3 things you do. So I probably should have rephrased my question. And I said, well, what if Juan wasn't there? And she said, well, I would call Pedro. And then I said, well, what if immigration was on the showgrounds? And she said, oh, I never would have gotten on. And I went, all righty then. That's one of my favorite judging stories. And I learned that you have to rephrase. I should have said, what should you do when you get off your horse? Instead of what does
your groom do?
Yeah, exactly. So anyhow, it was kind of fun. Well, this is fun, ladies. I missed you.
Yeah, we've missed you too. Well, I have. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I missed you too, Patty.
So it's been
great. I think we're going to wind things up now, but thank you so much, Randy and Patty, for joining me here today. And thank you for Nikki and Lindy, who gave us some comments and questions. That's great. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And do you have any final words, Randy?
Well, all I can say is that riding is a journey, and you just, whatever you're doing, take your time, be patient. Remember, good things take time, and we'll see you on the other side of the fence.
Ooh, I like that.
Patty. Yeah.
It's been fun to be back. I enjoyed this, and riding, as in everything in life, you can learn something every day from it. And I still learn from my silly horses that live in my backyard. Right. And just to kind of remember that and enjoy your horses. And it's supposed to be fun.
Yes.
And keep the fun in it. Otherwise, it becomes a business, and then your horses are not as important as your winning is.
And not only that, talking about fun, because this is a good point that you made, Patty, is that think about if your horse is really enjoying the process. like Patty, you showed that great exercise with the rib. Think about, is your horse having fun?
Right, exactly. Exactly. Well, ladies, it has been fun.
Thank you
And
thank you so much, everybody. Now go use this stuff and go hug your horse. See ya.
exactly.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. See you next week.